just wanted to do a quick little vlog about Halloween music. Now, one of my favorite things about the Halloween season is the playlist I put together every year. Well, it's more of a giant playlist that just gets more and more stuff added to it, but I digress. I don't really want to talk about the songs that you're bound to hear on the radio every single year. I mean, yeah, we've got the Monster Mash and Thriller and Time Warp into our brains until we die, and that's great. They're classics for a reason. Of course they're going to be on my playlist. But I want to give you guys some other options to look at. So, with that being said, here are 10 songs I think you should add to your spooky collection. Number 1, Suspiria by Goblin. Okay, so when I say horror movie themes, what's the first song that comes to mind? The Exorcist, Halloween, that bitchin' Latin choir from The Omen? Those were really good options, but I would like to introduce you to this creepy little gem from Suspiria. If you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend it. It's scary, it's gory, and it's got just the right amount of 70s flair. And it's surprisingly bright. I mean, look at these stills. You almost can't tell this is from a horror film. But enough about the movie, let's talk about the music. Suspiria is kind of similar to Tubular Bells in a way, in the sense that they both use bells to a really creepy effect, but this song does what Tubular Bells doesn't. It breaks into a progressive rock sequence about 3 minutes in with 70s static synthesizers and everything. Yeah! And then it slowly melds in back to the main melody with its creepy bells and bass. Suspiria has one of those melodies that just repeats over and over and over, but you really don't mind because it's so good. Like, you could listen to it on repeat for hours. Although that's probably not the best of ideas unless you want to start daydreaming about covens. Number 2, Dead Man's Bones by, Dead Man's Bones. Did you guys know Ryan Gosling's in a band? Yeah, and he can sing too. As if the guy wasn't dreamy enough, right? And his alias is Baby Goose. I mean, is that not the cutest thing or what? Anyway, Dead Man's Bones is a really unique album. Ryan Gosling and Zach Shields decided to use instruments that they've never even touched before, as well as not using a click track while recording and doing no more than 3 takes per song. The result is a rather bizarre concept album with sounds that range from folksy to doo-wop to indie rock with heaping spoonfuls of children's choir. It sounds like it should be a mess, but it's quite the opposite. The title track, Dead Man's Bones, was my first exposure to the band, and it's one of my favorites, though really you're just as good adding the whole album. It's absolutely perfect for the Halloween season. It's dark, it's macabre, but it's got just a touch of innocence, and the result is absolutely intoxicating. Number 3, Teil by Rammstein. A lot of Rammstein's music would make a perfect fit for your Halloween playlist, and I had a little bit of trouble deciding between this and Hallelujah, but I eventually sided with Teil because cannibalism. Dr. Lecter would be so proud. Be sure to get the version from the Resident Evil soundtrack and not Ryza Ryza, because the former has this really awesome spoken introduction that's just this perfect build-up before the heavy guitars and choir just punch you in the face. It's fucking epic! The latter just hits you full force without any warning, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when you've watched the music videos many times as I have, that's the version you get used to. Teil is inspired by German computer repair technician Armin Meiwes in his Cannibal Escapade in 2001. I'm not going to give you the full details here, but you're more than welcome to look it up, although be warned, it's pretty brutal. I mean, it's cannibalism for God's sake. Anyway, if you're looking for a pinch of badassery to your Halloween playlist, you can't go wrong with German industrial metal. Number 4, Panic of the Undead by Noppz. I sure hope I'm pronouncing that right. We gotta have at least one video game track on this list. If you're not familiar with Overclocked Remix, it's a fantastic place for video game remixes and mashups, and the music is all free. Noppz takes what was already a really catchy track and punches it up a bit, and gives it a little bit of ambiance, giving it that old school horror feel. It's short but sweet and perfectly captures the essence of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, just the right balance of spooky and fun. Minus the headbanging frustration of gameplay. Number 5, Bad Things Will Roll with the Devil by Titus Jones. One thing you should know about me is that I love mashups. Love, love, love them. Seriously, I have a whole playlist full of them. It's kind of a problem. And this mashup has to be one of my all-time favorites. It's just perfect. It mixes songs from Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Jace Everett, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and sets it to this delicious combo of Rihanna's SOS and Marilyn Manson's Personal Jesus. The combination of all these songs makes for one unbelievably sexy dance track. And then it shifts at the halfway point into this dancey tubular bells mixed with drowning pools bodies. This may sound a little ridiculous on paper, but trust me, it comes together so smoothly. This song is a must-have for any dance party. Number 6, Lake Pontchartrain by Ludo. Who's looking for a song that tells a good story? Then Ludo's got you covered. Lake Pontchartrain tells the tale of 3 friends unfortunate enough to get caught in a really bad storm while driving to Louisiana, with the eponymous lake seeming to call out to them until they arrive right at the lake's edge. Ludo's music for the most part is fun and upbeat even when it's a bit sinister, and this song is no exception. Kind of reminds me of Scooby-Doo in a way, except there may or may not be an explanation to all the creepy shit that's going on. There's a bit of a twist ending, so I don't really want to give away too much. One of my favorite songs from one of my favorite bands in the world. This song is definitely one you have to check out. Number 7, The Devil Wears a Suit by Kate Miller-Heidke. Okay, let's slow things down a bit with this eerie little number. This folksy, sort of Irish-inspired song starts off simply enough with a basic acoustic guitar, and then more and more layers are added, and with each instrument the song just sounds fuller and fuller. And then it quiets down again, gets simpler, and then all the instruments are brought back full force. It's a very beautiful, very haunting song. And Kate Miller-Heidke's voice is one of the most unique I've ever heard. She's operatically trained with a voice that spans 3 octaves. Wow. Damn my being an alto. And is it just me, or do I get the image of Slender Man whenever I hear this song? I mean, Devil Wears a Suit? Come on. Anyone? Okay, moving on. Number 8, Supernatural by Kesha. I really wanted to put Cannibal on here, but we kind of already have a song about cannibalism, so Supernatural was my next choice. And I can hear you guys yelling at me for putting Kesha on here, but you know what? I don't care. I love her. So, this electro-poppy jam has an awesome hard-driving bass line. It's just perfect for the dance floor. And apparently this song was inspired by Kesha's trysts with, well, a ghost. Yeah. Lots of people have reported getting it on with a ghost. Who knew? And while we could try to argue the finer points of how ghost copulation would work, you'd have a much better time dancing to this song. Trust me. Don't knock it till you try it. Kesha's awesome. Number 9, Zydrate Anatomy from Repo, the Genetic Opera. Being the musical theater nerd I am, I had to put some kind of musical tune on this list. I mean, you know, there's Sweeney Todd, Jekyll and Hyde, Little Shop of Horrors, but I went with Repo because it's a little more party-friendly, and it's more likely to flow with whatever else you have on your playlist. I mean, it's probably gonna be hard to follow up anything with this. Swing your razor wide, sweetie! The musical as a whole is kinda hit or miss, but Zydrate Anatomy is definitely one of the better numbers. It's fun, it's catchy, it's got a good beat, and it's pretty sexy. I think a lot of that is because of Terrence Zdunich. I mean, good God, the man's voice is sin and devilry incarnate. It's freaking delicious. Although I should probably warn you, Paris Hilton sings in it too, but just ignore her and you'll be fine. I mean, she's playing a drug-addicted broad who can't sing. And number 10, What's He Building by Tom Waits. This last track really isn't a song, and it's not exactly a story either. It's an experience, and it's one that should be done in a dark room with headphones. Waits' signature gravelly voice describes to you this very suspicious neighbor while accompanied by this background that's discordant and startling, and it really adds to the paranoia. A friend of mine once told me that he introduces people to Tom Waits with this piece, and honestly, it's a very good place to start if you're unfamiliar with his work. What's He Building is ambiguous. It doesn't answer any questions, and it plays into your darkest fears by letting your mind do all the work. And there you have it. Those are just 10 songs I think you should add to your playlist. Now, there's a ton more music I didn't even begin to cover, and I reblog a lot of music on my Tumblr this time of year, so they're in the description below if you'd like to check that out. And as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more spooky Halloween goodness.